going to start in 1 minute. When you start recording on YouTube, it starts playing loud on YouTube, and you got to turn the volume off, otherwise it's crazy. That was it. Goragraganya gana go to Goloruharam Goranga Gudatama Gopyata Kopa Briksham Gopala Gada Ratidam Yati Singha Gora Govinda Deshikavaram Satatam Namami Uttama Adhama Kichuna Bachira Jachiya Dile Kakola Kahe Premananda Hemona Goranga Hridoya Dariya Bola Bhaja Goranga Kaha Goranga Laha Gorangera Namare Jai Jana Goranga Bhaje Se Hoyamada Pranare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Yashaiva Padambuja Bhakti Labhya, Prema Bidana Parama Pumata, Tasmai Jagan Mangala Mangalaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Madgavyarapi Gopala Sri Kriyat Kripaya Jadi Tadaiva Sambhaya Pitva Rishayustat Priya Jana Shri Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Sasanatana Rupaka Gopala Raghunathapta Brajabala Bapahimam Vanchakalpatarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Nice to see everybody today, except for Jaigor. But anyway, we know you're there. So last session we were speaking about this verse from a song by the poet Premananda Das, where he describes it, Uttama Adhama Kichuna Bachila, that this is the nature of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. He doesn't consider who's Uttam and who's Adam. Rather, he embraces everyone. Hridaya Dhariyabo, and calls them, come to my fold, come to my embrace, come to my embrace. We all want to run to the embrace of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Is that, I just noticed, Krishna couldn't turn the fan on again. Is that causing some sound problem? Is it okay?
It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's so bad for us.
Yeah.
It's okay, Kun. Better leave it on then, so we can stay alive. Thank you. So we spoke something about this on the last session, and we sang from the original song, which I posted in our WhatsApp group already recently. And we were commenting how Raghunath Das Goswami, in the concluding verse of his Govardhan Basa Prarthana Dasakam, he says, Nurupadi Karunena Shri Satchinandanena, that this is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, that his karuna is Nirupadika Karuna. It has no designations. He's not considering Uttam or Adam, he's giving to everyone. And then he says, Twaye Kapati Satopi. even though I'm a Kapati, even though I'm a very duplicitous person, and I'm a Satta. Satta means a criminal, or a rascal. Tvat priyanar pitosmi. I still, Tvat priyana, by your priya, by your beloved, arpita. Gauranga Mahaprabhu gave me to you. So, iti kalu mama yogya ayogyata mama agrinam. Please don't consider my yogyata or my ayogyata, my qualification, my unqualification. Just nija nikata nibasam dehi govardhanatvam. Grant me residence near you, or as we often comment, depending on how you do the Sunday, it can be govardhanatva, which in that case would mean that please let me have the same kind of qualities as you. So this is Gauranga Mahaprabhu, how he gives mercy to everyone, and he doesn't consider yogya patra toma nikate. He doesn't consider who's qualified, who's unqualified to live near Mahaprabhu. So Jaripadi Basadana e bichargate. You please don't make these considerations with me, because you're patita pavan. Your prema that you're giving is nirupadika prema. So please give me this mercy. This is my prayer for you. But in our last session, a point was raised by some of the devotees, which we spoke some on, and I didn't really get a chance to resolve the question. I think it was Ujjwala Rasiga who brought up this problem. Our Guru Maharaj oftentimes said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Patit Pavan, but he's not Kapatya Pavan. He's a deliverer of the fallen, but he's not the deliverer of the crooked. So when we say that he's Uttama Adhama Kichinabachila, that's really good. He doesn't consider who's qualified and who's unqualified, but I'm in a third category. I'm in the category of the Kapatya. And how then do we reconcile this? Is there any hope for us, those of us who are Kapatis? Well, I think there must be. Raghunath Das Goswami, he expressed like this in his Govardhan Vasa Prarthana Dasakam. He expresses the topmost desire to have some mood like that of Giriraj Govardhan and be able to help assist to bring the divine couple together in the mood of one of Radharani's intimate maidservants. And so he's saying that this is your mercy, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, your Nirupadi Karuna, you have no designations, Uttama Adhama Kichina Bachila, even though Tvai Kapati Sata, even though I'm a duplicitous person, and even though I'm a Sata, I'm a rascal, or I'm a criminal, still he's approaching the Lord. And that gives us some hope. Why Raghunath Das Goswami is doing like this? He's speaking internally in his Dainya Bhav, but externally he's speaking for Loka Siksha, or to deliver us, to give us some hope. Now I'd like to turn to the third section of Prem Bhakti Chandrika, which speaks about Atma Nivedana, or self-surrender. And Narottam Das Thakur, he's given some wonderful songs, wonderful song to help us to understand this dilemma. What can we do? Because as Ujjwala Rasiga, I think, was pointed out, and Krishna Kun also was lamenting about what can I do? I'm not just a boy. Krishna. I'm not just a fallen person, but I'm a Kapati. I'm a duplicitous person. So how do we deal with that? There it goes. I changed the batteries, but somehow they're not working so great with this. So I'd like to share with you this song, and this is our session tonight, this song. Tumi Chodayana Sindhu Adhama Janada Bandhu Mori Prabhu Koro Abada Padina asat bole kamati mingile gile e nata koro paritran. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. So Narottam Das Thakur, he's crying out in a very piteous way. Very, very beautiful verse. Tumi doi doyara sindhu. My dear Lord, this is your nature. You're the ocean of mercy. The ocean has a special quality. It's a body of water. There's also other bodies of water. There's different creeks, there's different ponds and pukors and things, but the special quality of the ocean is that it never dries up. There's always water there because it's taking water from so many, many different places. It's accepting so many different rivers and things within it. That's the nature of the ocean. So he's saying, my dear Lord, in your doya, your mercy, you're like the Sindhu, the ocean. Adhama janara bandhu. And you're the only friend of those janas who are Adhama, who are very, very fallen. He says, Mora Prabhu Koro Abadan. Please give your abadan, your glance to me. Padina asat bole kama timingile gile enata koro paritran. He says that I'm fallen. I'm drowning in this ocean. You're the ocean of mercy, and I'm drowning in an ocean of lust. And in this ocean of lust, there's great timingilas. There's great whales which eat. A timingila is something which eats whales. Here it says whale, but a timingila is a great monstrous kind of thing which feeds on whales. And I'm fallen into this situation. E nata koro paritran. Hey nata, my dear Lord, you please paritran, you please deliver me. Javat janama mora paradi hoinu bora nishkapati nabajinu toma tatapi hatumi gati nachadiha pranapati mui samanahika dhamma. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Hare Hare Hare. He sang that from my janma, from the very beginning of my birth. Aparado hoinu bora. All that I've been doing is just committing offenses to everyone. Nishkapati nabajinu tuma. And he's making a very uncomfortable declaration. Actually, this song, I was meditating on it today, and we often sing this song, Gauranga Karuna Koro, Amidina Hinijani. And I was contemplating how whoever wrote that song, it seems that it was not written by Narottam Das Thakur, but it was inspired by his writings. And I personally think that that song, Gauranga Karuna Koro, was inspired by this particular song in Prem Bhakti Chandrika. You can consider it. I think you're all familiar with that song as we're going along today. So he's saying that from the beginning of my birth, okay, I've done some worship, but it's been niskapat, it's been kapatya bhajan. It's never been niskapatya. I've always had some kapatya, some duplicity has been there in my bhajan. It's a very heavy thing to say. And we should approach this and understand this in terms of bhakti, not in terms of religion. If you approach it in terms of religion, then you get a headache. Because according to religion, you go to church, you get up, you chant your japa. According to religion, you give some donation, you do this thing, and you're saved. Everything is okay. The impetus, the stress is on you're being saved. But in bhakti, the stress is on having a relationship with Krishna. So it's different. It's a personal relationship. And just like a personal relationship between a boy and a girl, the girl may have some trepidation, some concern, some worry that this boy is actually sincere. And so she's always watching him to see, he's telling me that he loves me, he's bringing me gifts, but is he also going and seeing some other girls also? Because if he does, then he's a Kapatya. He's a duplicitous person. His love is not ekantic. So we're like that. We want to have some relationship with the Lord, but our love for the Lord, our bhajan for the Lord, our worship of the Lord is Kapatya, sakapatya. It has so much duplicity because we're absorbed in feelings for ourselves. So Narottam Das Thakur prays in Tatapi hatumi gati, na chadiha pranapati. My dear Lord, still in spite of all that, tatapi, in spite of all that, hatumi gati, you're my only gati. You're the only goal that I have. Na chadiha pranapati. So please don't give me up. You're my pranapati. You're the Lord of my life. Meaning that if you give me up, I'm going to die. So na chadiha, don't neglect me. Don't kick me away in spite of all my faults. Mui sama nahika adhama. You please understand. I understand that mosamo patita prabhu nahi tribhuvana. We're saying the same thing here. Mui sama nahika adhama. That there's no one as fallen as myself. So this is how we deal with this. And this again is a big difference between religion and bhakti. In religion, people become proud. Krishna speaks about this in the 16th chapter of the Gita, that someone thinks, yes, I've given so much charity, I'm a righteous person, I've done this. Or devotees sometimes even, they think, yes, I've distributed so many books, I've taken initiation, I'm chanting so many rounds, I'm a very religious person, you should listen to my class. But the difference between that mood, which is a mood of religion, where we're doing something for our own personal motivation, and there's some possibility there of pride. But when we're approaching the Lord in a personal relationship, through Gurudev, through the Vaishnavas, then we understand it's a very sacred thing. It's not just that I'm going to become someone's friend because I go to Mangal Artik every day. If I go to Mangal Artik every day, then Radhajivan from Gopalpur was going to say, well, Madhavan is my best friend. He's my most intimate friend because he goes Mangal Artik every day. Must be my very best friend. If that's your criteria for friendship, that's very, very shallow. We feel very sad for you. So it's something more than that. We have to approach the Lord in a personal way. And that love has to be unmotivated. Hoitaki apratiyata yiyatma supersediti. Otherwise, yiyatma supersediti, it can't satisfy the jivatma and the paramatma. And then he goes on to describe, just as the song Gauranga Karuna Koro describes. Patita Pavananam Goshana Tomara Shami Pat Upakeli Nahi Moragati Jadi Hoi Aparadi Tatapi Hatumi Gati Satya Satya Jaina Satyapati Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare. He says that, my dear Lord, you're very famous. Patita Pavananam. If you're known as the deliverer of the fallen. Goshana Tomara Sham. Goshana Tomara Sham. That you're delivering everybody. And he's addressing him as Sham Sundar, Krishna. Perhaps he's saying like this because he's also speaking to Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And if even as Krishna, Shama Sundar, you're very merciful, then what to speak of a Gauranga Mahaprabhu? Upakeli nahi moragati. If you don't deliver me, if you neglect me, nahi moragati. And this is the important point. This is the conundrum. The conundrum is a nice English word for those of you who may not be native English speakers. Conundrum is defined as a confusing or difficult problem or question. You can't figure out how do you solve this problem. So this is the Kapatya Conundrum. This is this particular problem. Okay, so I'm Adhama. I'm a very, very fallen person. But Mahaprabhu's Uttama Adhama Kichina Bachala, he doesn't consider that. And my Guru Maharaj used to say, we often quote, that your only qualification is your disqualification. But then at the same time, he said that Mahaprabhu is Patit Pavan, but he's not Kapatya Pavan. He's a deliverer of the fallen, but he's not the deliverer of the crooked. So Narottam Das Thakur in this song, in the third chapter, third section of Prem Bhakti Chandrika, he speaks about Saranagati, about surrender, and how very, very important that is. We should understand the relationship of surrender and bhakti. It's not just that we surrender so that we get some religious points, but we're surrendering because this is going to help me in my relationship with the Lord. And here, Narottam is saying that Upakile nahi moragati. Nahi moragati. I have no other gati, no other goal than you. Or here someone translates gati as shelter. I have no other goal than you. There's nothing, no other hope for me. Jadi hoy aparari tatapi hatuma gati. But if you see that I'm a great offender, then still, in spite of that, still, tumi gati, you're still the only goal that I have. You please accept me, just as a chaste lady accepts her husband. Satya Jena Satipati. That she's a Satipati. Satya means truth. Satya means a vow or a promise. So he's saying, this is the truth, this is the truth. Twice he's saying this is the truth. That you're my only goal. Just as a chaste woman just knows her husband, she doesn't know anyone else. So indicating that maybe I may be a fallen person, but still, nahi moragati. I have no other goal. Just as the husband is the only hope for a chaste wife. And Narottam goes on. Tumito parama deva nahi more upakiva suna pranhera ishvara jadi karun aparada tatapiha tumi nata shebadiya koro anucha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Tumito Paramadeva. You're the ultimate Deva. You're the Supreme Lord. You're my Supreme Lord. Nahi more upekiba. You please don't neglect me. Please, suno pranar ishvar. Suno means to hear. And Narottam Das Thakur twice, in one commentary explains it with us, he says, suno. Twice he says, listen. Please listen. Please listen. Just like Jai Gaur, when your wife comes to you to talk to you, she says, Jai Gaur, please listen. Please listen. Right? And it means you really got to listen. You got to look at her. You got to nod your head. You got to repeat what she's saying. And don't be like me and just look at the computer while she's talking. Or something, We have to pay close attention. Suno pranera ishvara. You should know that pranera ishvara. You're my Lord, my Ishvara of my prana, of my heart. You're the only Lord of my heart. Now, indicating here, he's saying that I'm an offender, I'm an aparadi. I'm a kapati, I have so many problems and things, but still, pranera Ishvara. You're the Lord of my life. Now, how can he say that? If you openly say that I'm very fallen, I'm a kapati, I have other desires, I have other motivations, then how can I come and say that pranera Ishvara, that you're the Lord of my life and there's no other Lord? I can say that because I understand that. I understand that intellectually. I've heard that from great souls. I'm not on that platform where I have no material desires, but still, I understand that this is the only hope that I have. These verses, this song very much reminds me of a verse which Prabhupada quotes, I think, in the 8th canto of the Bhagavatam. It's from the Padma Purana. Nama parada yuktanam namanyeva harantyagam avishranti paryuktani tani vata harani cha. That describing how even if someone has done offenses, so many offenses, what should they do? The offenses to the holy name, they should go on chanting. Because I understand this is my only hope. I have no other hope. This is my prana. This is my life. I have no other life. Okay, I may be a really fallen person. After my Guru Maharaj left, I sometimes mention this story. I stayed in Bhubaneswar. And many of my godbrothers, they went here and there for sadhu sangha, and they ended up giving up the services that they'd gotten. And at one point, one of my godbrothers who had left came back to visit Bhubaneswar, and he was speaking to me in a private way, and he said, Madhavananda, why are you here, man? Do you have no association? This is before Fakir Mahaprabhu came. He said, you have no association. What are you doing? You should come to be with the sadhus at. And I told him, I said, that's okay. But can you promise me if I go there, my service will continue? I said, I have faith that Guru Maharaj wants me to have sadhu sangha more than I want. And for me, this is my everything. I have this instruction. I may be a fallen person. I don't want to try to claim that I'm some liberated soul, that I'm some elevated devotee or something like that. That would be very, very deceitful. It would be very, very wrong. I'm not. I'm not like that at all. But I have one thing. My pran, my life, is instruction that I've gotten from Guru and Krishna. My life is my bhajan. My life is my service. And even though I may be full of so many offenses, how can I give that up? I have nothing else. Jadi koron aparadha tatapiha tuminata. He says that still, my Lord, even if I do some offenses, jadi means if, jadi koron aparadha, even though I'm doing some offenses, tatapiha tuminata, still, you're my only nata. You're the only Lord of my life. Seba diya koro anuchar. You please give me, diya, you give me this service. And he says koro. Koro means to do in Bengali. But koro is a verb also which gives you an indication of forcing something. That you just make me into your servant. I'm not a qualified servant. So you just force me, you just make me into your servant. So this is the answer to our Kapatya Conundrum. That we have to take shelter of the Lord, as Narottam Das Thakur is teaching us here in Prem Bhakti Chandrika. And by the way, I'm going over this tonight in a very quick way, but these songs would take us probably maybe one day per stanza, at least if we really wanted to get into it with the commentaries on it. And I'm planning on doing that. Actually, I was thinking, Jai Gaur and whoever else is interested to come to Danadhar Maharaj's Yatra next year, I was thinking maybe this would be a good seminar for me to do at the Yatra, to do a 4 or 5 day seminar on the meaning of Gauranga Karuna Koro, based on this song from Narottam Das Thakur. So the next line he goes on. Kame mora hata chitta nahi jane nija hitta mane nana guche dubasana. More nata angi kuru tumi bansha kalpa charu karuna dekuka sarvajana. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This is my situation. Yeah, I come to the temple, I get initiated, I chant 16 rounds, and then everybody's like telling you that look, you have to be a pure devotee, you have to have no lust in your heart, you have to have no other motivations, and that's real bhakti. But I have to confess, Nandan Das Thakur says, I don't fit in here. Kama, I'm so, and we have the syllable A, or we spelled E here, at the end of a word in Bengali. It means that the possessor of. So kame means I have so much lust. Kame, I have so much kam. Kame mora hatta chitta. That my chitta means heart, chitta means my consciousness. My consciousness is just filled up with lust. Nahi jani nija hitta. I don't understand. Nahi jani. I don't know. Nija hitta. What is my own benefit? What is good for me? Manira naguchi durbasana. Please, I can't destroy, I can't defeat. Guche means to defeat or to drive out, to smash or destroy. I can't destroy these durbasana, these material desires that I have. My Guru Maharaj, he once spoke, since we've been, this topic today, this Kapatya Conundrum, I think is based on some of the comments that he made. It's appropriate perhaps to look at some of the other things that he said also. And I remember one class that he gave, and he spoke about how he said, Krishna likes confessions. Krishna and Guru, they like confessions. And this is a problem also in a society and in our individual life. In a society, it's very difficult to make confessions. Let's not go into it, but we could give statistics that are not so inspiring sometimes about leaders in our movement. But it's not just the leaders, it's all of us. And it's very difficult for someone to come forward and just be honest and explain where they're at. And especially when there's people who have faith in them, and especially when there's people who have faith in them, that's their inspiration is everything. So 2 points are here. At this stage, we're in our discussion. 2 points are here. One is that we have someone who's preaching or doing something, and that may be so many of us. Radha Jivan Gopal Prabhu, he's taking care of the cows, and the cows really think that Radha Jivan Gopal is a real sadhu. He's a genuine saintly person. He's a very, very exalted personality. But he doesn't want to tell them, actually, really, I'm a badmas, I'm a rascal, I have so many material desires, I have this and that. I'm not actually the best person. But if he tells that to the cows, and the cows may be brokenhearted. I don't know if you can explain that to them, but cows might become brokenhearted. Or the persons that you're preaching to, the persons who are hearing from you, they may become very, very disturbed and unhappy. So it's a problem then. This is another kind of conundrum. Because if that preacher, if that parent, if that leader speaks the truth of things, then it may break the heart of devotees. And the devotees may lose their inspiration. So that person can't speak anything. And then he's in a very difficult situation. I remember Narendrana Maharaj speaking to us in a very frank way once, and he told us, he said, I've seen so many of my god brothers, sannyasis, who ended up getting married or leaving the sannyas ashram. And I saw one thing that was common amongst many of them is they didn't keep association with intimate god brothers. And instead, many of them were just associating with disciples and followers. Because when we associate with so many followers like that, we can't reveal our heart. But if we're associating intimately with peers, then we can speak something very frank and honest, and we can protect ourselves. So I mentioned 2 points. One is the perspective of ourselves as preachers, as parents, as leaders, temple presidents, in charge of the cows, in charge of the garden, in charge of the toilets, whatever. You have some position, and there's people who are respecting you. That's one consideration. The second consideration inherent in this whole concept is that of the followers. And a very honest point comes that why should those followers lose their faith? If they hear some nice Krishna Katha, if they hear some nice points from a sadhu, and then that sadhu turns out to be not what they expected. I've seen this. My first person that I was initiated by in this movement, he fell down and went away. And I saw many of the devotees, many of my godbrothers at that time, became disgusted, and practically they would spit, and they just rejected him, so many of them. Somehow I didn't do that. And in fact, I continued to take shelter of him, not that personality, but the teachings, the good teachings that he shared with us. And I've always been able to appreciate him for the help that he gave. So there's two types of followers. There's the Bahirmukh Sishyas and the Antarmukh Sishyas, the external and the internal. And the external devotees, they're looking for some Labha Puja Pratishta, and they're trying to get that fame, adoration, and distinction through association with their guru. They want to come and say, yes, I'm doing service in the ashram here, and because I'm connected with this person, then I can tell everybody I'm really close with them, and this and that. There's some motivation there. And such persons, when they find out, if they see some fault, or even an apparent fault, in their teacher, in their Siksha Guru, their Diksha Guru, their temple president, in their parents, whatever it may be, whatever leader it may be, it's a crisis for them. Because they're sentimental followers. And they're not looking to see the teachings of Gurudev or the teachings of that person. They're just looking for some rock star. Someone who's very, very famous, and they're looking for something themselves so they can advertise that. So such a person is a Bahirmukh Jana. He's an Anartha Mukta. He has anarthas in his heart. And in particular, he's looking for some affection. We speak about this sometime. That he's looking for affection and attention from his Gurudev. He's not just following Shastra. Rather, as Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj has commented, also from Bhakti Prem Bhakti Chandrika, that it says that Sadhu, Shastra, Guru, Vakya, Chittiti, Koriya, Aikya. That these three things, I want Chittiti, Koriya, Aikya, I want effects in my mind and my heart. Sadhu, Shastra, Guru, Vakya. The Vakya, or the instructions of Sadhu, Shastra, and Guru. And he comments how these three are going in a sequence. Very, very beautiful and important point, which I've commented on many times. How we first meet Sadhu. And who is Sadhu? Sadhu is someone who speaks Shastra. But if we don't get to the Shastric part of that Sadhu, if we're just coming to Sadhu because we like the way he looks, or we like the miracle that he gives, or maybe we like to because he has so many followers, he has so many disciples, he has such a nice temple, or he comes and he pats me on the head and gives me attention, or this or that, then you've not gotten to the point of Shastra, and therefore you've not really understood him as Guru. Because that Shastric point is a go-between between the Sadhu and the Guru. Sadhu is someone who speaks Shastra. And we approach Sadhu as Guru through Shastra. So even if we see someone has some difficulties or someone has some problems in this part of our conundrum, still we see, are the teachings good? If the teachings are good, how can I give those things up? So he goes on, speaking to the Lord and tearing open his heart and revealing his inner situation. Moranata Angi Kuru. He says that, oh my dear Lord, Angi Kuru, you please, here it says you accept me. How you accept me? Angi Kuru, you accept me like part of your body. And just as your body, I got bitten by some ants today when I was transplanting some of our plants today. So many ants are there. So I don't hate my arm because I've got some swelling, some welts on it, some bites from the ants. That's part of me. So in the same way, my dear Lord, you please accept me just like I'm part of your body. And tumi bancha kalpataru. I know that you're a wish-fulfilling tree. Karuna dehuka sarvajan. So you purify me. And if you do that, then dekuka sarvajan. Everybody's going to see how merciful you are. You even saved Madhavananda. Oh my God. That's really amazing. That guy was such a rascal. Not only is he a rascal, but kapati satopi, as Raghunath Das Goswami was just saying. I'm a kapati, I'm a duplicitous person, I'm a satta, I'm a criminal. So he goes on. This is very much, this Goranga Karuna Koro song is very much a commentary. Receive this song. Musamo patita nai tribhuvane dekachai narotoma pavanamadara. Gushuka samsari nam patita pavana sham nijadasa koro giridara. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This is it that Mosamo patita prabhu nahi tribhuvani. Mosama patita nahi tribhuvani dekachai. Same thing. That if you look in all the three worlds, Mosamo patita pai, you won't find anyone as fallen as myself. Narottama pavana namadara. So you deliver this Narottam. You uplift him. And there's another meaning we could derive here of the word Narottam, which I like to meditate on. The Narottam here, he's using his own name. Narottama Pavana Namadara. That you please deliver me. But another meaning can be that I'm Nara Uttam Das. Narottam Das Thakur. Is that person is Nara Uttam Das. He's the servant of those persons who are Nara Uttam, or the great devotees. So that's my only identification. You please, you come and deliver me. And then you'll become very famous. Everybody will say that you're the Pavana of Narottam, Namadara. You'll have this particular name. Gushuka Samsara Nam, Patita Pavana Sham. So Gushuka Samsara Nam. So let this thing happen. Let your name become famous as a deliverer, as Patit Pavan. Nijadasa Koro Giridhar. My dear Krishna, he addresses him as Giridhari. You're the lifter of Govardhan Hill. You lifted Govardhan Hill. We know you can do so many big things. You've lifted that great mountain with just a little finger. So also you can deliver me. It's not going to be a problem for you. And what do I want in particular? Nijadasa Koro. That again, the word koro is used. That you make me in Nijadas, into your servant. And then he concludes the song with the last line. Narottama Bhoro Duki Nata More Koro Suki Tomara Bhajana Sankirtane Anjaraya Nahi Jai Parama Bhai Nivedana Karunanukshana Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare. Here he says Narottama Bhoro Duki. I'm very, very unhappy. I'm not just Duki, but I'm Bhoro Duki. I'm very, very unhappy. I'm crying and crying. Why am I so unhappy? I might be unhappy because I'm suffering, but I'm very, very unhappy because I see that not only am I suffering, but I've been given the topmost thing, and still I'm a kapati. Still I'm a duplicitous person. So Nata, my dear Lord, Nata more koro suki. Again he uses the word koro. You make me happy. Make me, how will you make me happy? Tomara bhajana sankirtane. You please give me the sankirtan. Please let me do bhajan of Nam Sankirtan with the devotees. That's real happiness. And again, he's making this point that nara mora nahi gati, as he said earlier. I have no other goal. This is my only goal. I'm not going to take shelter of any other thing. I'm only going to take shelter of the holy name. Antaraya nahi jai eta parama bhai nivedana karun anukshana. He says that, my dear Lord, if all these different obstacles that are coming to you, that are coming to me, this is my fear, my bhaya. This is my parama bhaya. That I won't be able to overcome all these things. I won't be able to actually do bhajan for you. Therefore, nibidana karun anukshana. He finishes the song with these three words, very important words. Nibbidana, Karun, Anukshana. This is my Nibbidan. My Nibbidan, I'm placing this before you. I'm tearing open my heart. I'm revealing my innermost heart to you. Karun, Anukshana. And how often am I doing this? Anukshana. I'm constantly doing this. This is our hope. Our Nam Sankirtan is everything. It's the only hope that we have for our life. So I want to go ahead and stop there. If anybody has any reflections or comments, we can go ahead and share those. I was a little short with things. Nice to see you again, Kushba. Hare Krishna. All right, Kushba, you're not in the library right now, right? No, okay, I wasn't sure. We just saw Kushba a few days ago. She's one of the saintly persons in the BRC, the Bhaktivedanta Research Center. So, Jaigor comments, I think he's commenting about Radha Jivan Gopal Prabhu, that Jaigor says, I also think he's a real sadhu. So I'm not sure if that means that like the cows, that Jaigor has also become confused, or that Jaigor is like the cows and that he's also very simple like the cows. And like a cow is very simple, but it just gives milk. Jaigor is also like that. Cows are very, very nice because they don't find fault. They're not looking to see if someone's like this or like that. Karma Rupa Prabhu, my old friend in Vrindavan, he's a wonderful devotee who left his body serving the cows in Vrindavan. And he loved the sadhus, and he loved the cows. And he told me once personally, privately, he said, you know, I don't know about the sadhus. I'm not 100% sure. Because there may be some fault there. They may be doing something bad in a private way or something. But cows are simple. Cows are non-duplicitous. So I guess Jaigor is like a cow. In that way, he's just very, very simple, non-duplicitous. Cows are in the mode of goodness. They just accept this person's feeding me. This person's loving me, he's brushing me. So they're not looking to see, yeah, but what's really your motivation? The cows don't ask like that. They're very, very simple. And Radhajivan Gopal, well, he commented back, yes, they only like me because I give them hay and grains and sometimes scratch their necks. That's right. Just confirm what I just said. Because they're simple. And so also we like sadhu for that. Because sadhu guru feeds us. He gives us Krishna Katha, he gives us seva. Sadhu guru gives us mantra. He gives us association, he gives us prasadam. And we appreciate him for that. And he scratches us on the back, he gives us some affection and things. And Gauri Prabhu comments.
We love Mahaprabhu for that. He's Vishwamba, he's nourishing us, giving us hay,
Can you hear what Krishna Kun said?
giving us Krishna Prema.
That Mahaprabhu was Vishwambar, he's also nourishing. And Gauri Prabhu says, now they remember you and come to you again and again when you deal with them correctly according to their true nature. And that's a beautiful comment also. That we can try to love the cows by playing some acid rock music for them, some heavy metal or something, because I really like heavy metal, and they must really, they must also really appreciate that. And I'll give them some beer and something like that. But the cows are not going to appreciate that. So Gauri Prabhu's point is very valid, that really affection manifests when we try to understand the person that we're dealing with. So Ujjwala Rasiga, she says, laser focused confession next to her. That's her summary, I think, of our talk today. Ujjwala Rasiga, I know you're an important person. You have to go to your work and things. Do you want to share any reflection with us before you have to run away? Hare Krishna. I'm going to go out and see the famous brick wall here now. There it is. Ujjwala Rasiga's famous brick wall. You got to before you retire from the hospital, you got to write your initials or something on that wall.
My pranams to you, Prabhu, and to all the devotees here. This is so good. Every grain of this nectar can be in so many different taste and flavor, Prabhu. But the confession nectar is really, is really very deeply satisfying. It actually gives a different kind of nourishment when the confession is going on, as you nicely said. If that does not happen within ourselves, and if there is nobody to express that outside, then the bhajan is not safe and is deep. So, antaranga, right? Karo, angikara, please make me a part of your limb. And I'm not your servant, but Karo, make me your servant. And I am a patita. I am duplicious, unchaste, but you are patita pavana. And you are my Ishvara. I'm not going anywhere. And you are patita pavana. And the last words you said, Prabhu, those 3 words, anukshana. I feel very insecure and I feel scared in the spiritual journey if I can be chaste and reciprocate with you so purely. So I feel very insecure, Gauranga. So I am constantly appealing to you. And you beautifully summarized the whole thing and ended saying that how Harinam is a constant, ongoing Nivedana from a very unchaste, duplicious, Pashandi, Kapati to Gauranga, who is a Patita Pavana. Thank you so much, Prabhu. That's all I can say. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Ujjwala Rasika. Just hearing your comments, it reminded me of something else. It was a great thorn in my heart, looking back in my past, which I mentioned to the devotees already, how at one point in my life I accepted someone as guru and took initiation from them, and later they had problems and they went away. And that was painful. But I think even more painful than that was seeing the behavior of many of my godbrothers who all of a sudden hated him. And it was troubling to my heart, and there was something really very fundamentally wrong there. And I never really put my finger on it. Well, just when you're commenting just now, I could understand some. We should love that person. In spite of the fact maybe they disappointed us, we should love our parents, even though it turned out that they were doing some very, very bad thing. But we love them because they fed me. We love them for the affection they gave me. We love them for the care they gave me. We love them for the birth they gave me. And I always remember them for that. And if I don't appreciate them for that, then where's the question of me making advancement? Unless I have some gratitude. This gratitude is such a very, very important principle. And if we don't have that gratitude, even though the person fell down and went away and disappointed us and whatever, if that's disappointed me, then I'm just a shallow person. I'm not taking shelter of the teachings. I'm taking shelter of the rock star status of that person. This was a fundamental problem. It's just hearing your comment, somehow it connected those things with me. Thank you, Ujjwala.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay, I'm happy. Maybe it seems like we answered your question from last week. It was an involved topic. I touched on it last week like this, but since then I was
so laserly focused, Prabhu. And I want to say it can get better. Every part of it so laserly focused and beautifully touched, bringing to the beautiful conclusion of how Harinam is a shelter and a constant appeal. Wonderful, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Well, for those of you who don't know, Ujjwala Rasika is a doctor. So she knows what is proper medicine. She understands. You're a sadhu, Vaidya. Thank you, Ujjwala. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else want to share something? Kushbu, do you want to share something? Kushbu's kind of new to our group here. As I was just mentioning, she lives in Kolkata and she works at the Bhaktivedanta Research Center. And she was very nice to me when we went to Kolkata last time. She was very helpful in the library and things. So, do you have any reflection you want to share from the discussion today?
Greetings to everyone, and I got this opportunity to be present. It's all Prabhu's mercy. I really like the point where Prabhu said that we approach sadhu as guru through Shastra. Because I always loved that part of Prabhupada's lecture where Prabhupada explains this is the axiomatic theory. Prabhupada says that this is the axiomatic theory, which states that if one person says I have 100 rupees, the other one says that yes, he has 100 rupees, and then the third one also says, then it confirms that that person has that much of amount. So Prabhupada explains that this is called the axiomatic theory, where sadhu, guru, and shastra, they confirm and we actually follow that. So I just recollected that particular portion of Prabhupada's lecture, and I was very much moved with the because when I read Vaishnav K by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, at that time I was actually wondering about this puja labh and pratishtha, like how even when we become devotees, we actually there is this anartha arising out of our devotion, which in Madhurya Kadambini also I read Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that anartha arising out of devotion. So this puja labh and pratishtha is something which is very difficult to overcome. But once today I found this really clear, like Prabhu said, external devotee and internal devotee. Like those who are after puja labh and pratishtha, they are actually not following. They are actually sentimentalist. I have written these points. So every class is. I mean, that's why I'm feeling so happy that I could attend, and I will be attending your classes, Guru, because this thing got clear in my mind that actually the external devotees are like sentimentalists. They are actually not followers because we have to follow, and if we follow, then actually we are actually on the right track. Otherwise, we are just looking for some external features of like you said, how he or she looks or things like that. That is not real following. So this was very enlightening for me. Thank you so much, Guru. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you very much, Krishna. My grandma used to say that we see a sadhu with our ears. Shutekshita pata. It's a very, very important thing. We need to understand anybody. We have to hear from them. We have to hear their hearts, and that's why it's not enough just to even do kirtan together, but there has to be parasparana katanam. There has to be some kata, and that kata has to be a very intimate kata when we can reveal our mind. So thank you very much. Natalia, are you there? Would you like to share something?
Krishna, thank you very much. I'm very thankful just to hear again about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Guru Tattva Katha also from all of you, and kind of not on this wave last days. But I had a question. If I may ask about how. If we follow, Shastra, which we hear from Guru, is the most important thing, how does attachment develops? If we also there is this phrase that who is most important, Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru, that one to whom attachment is more like. Disciple is most attached. Okay, just I had this question, I don't know, in my head.
If we don't follow Shastra and try to understand Shastra, then where will the depth be in our relationship with Gurudev? How will we be steady in our relationship with Gurudev? We may develop doubts. We may think, oh, Guru Maharaj doesn't really know. But if we know Shastra, then we'll know, oh, what Gurudev is speaking is according to Shastra. He may be speaking according to Desha, Kala, Patra, time, place, and circumstance, but what he's saying is according to Shastra. And that gives me faith. And by having that kind of faith, that Shastriya Shraddha in Gurudev, then I can come close to him. Just like someone may like you because the color shoes you wear, or the kind of purse or bag that you have. And you may have somebody, just like on the internet now, they have these people, what do they call them? I don't know, influencers or something, is some word they have for them. And they've got like 1 million followers. And all they do is just talk about their boyfriend or how they went on a cruise and how they got this new lipstick or this new shoes or this or that. And it's just completely nothing. So what is the value of that kind of friendship? What is the value of that kind of relationship? If you're a person with depth and somebody comes to you and says, you know, Natalia, I just like you so much. You're just so special. You're so wonderful. You say, well, wow. Why? Because the shoes you wear. You have the nicest shoes. Your shoes are so amazing. You're so wonderful. How are you going to feel? You're going to feel like this person's really kind of creepy. This person's weird. This person's very, very shallow, isn't it? And you're not going to be, you may pamper them, you may say, that's nice, that's okay. But you don't feel very close with that person. It's not going to be, the person's not going to come to your heart. So similarly, if we come to Gurudev, and we just, oh, Gurudev, I like it because you're a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. I like it because you wear saffron cloth. I like you because you have a danda. Oh, Gurudev, I like you because you have lots of followers. How are you really going to be able to come close with that person? But when you listen to that person and you understand Shastra, you follow Shastra, then Gurudev says, oh, this person's got it. It's not just being a sentimental follower of myself, but he or she understands my heart. And then you really come close to them. Just like someone who may come close to you and they like you because of your shoes, you don't care for them. But if they like you because what you like to do, that you're very attached to chanting japa, you're very attached to reading, you're very attached to cooking for the deities or this or that, and they come to understand that thing, and maybe even they want to assist with that, then you develop a relationship with them. A two-sided thing. Does that answer your question, Talia? Are you okay? And for those of you who don't know, Natalia, you've been working with some of the devotees in Ukraine, I think, in communications and things, haven't you?
Yes, it was like a bit stressful was this, but now we have about 70 new people in our team, and we will engage them. So, so we will share responsibilities. So, okay.
That's very good. Thank you so much for doing that. I mean, we just cry sometimes. You know, you saw our post on Facebook. It's a very interesting kind of situation. We're telling, you know, the devotees are there. They have no food, no water, no ways to keep warm. It's very cold. They have nowhere to go. If they try to go down the road, they'll shoot them and things. And several people wrote and said, well, what can we do? And I just said, we don't know. What can we do? We can't, all that we can do, I've written something like this and asked the devotees to pray. And that's kind of a very intense situation to be put in. All that I can do is just cry out to Krishna. Today, Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj is doing kirtan. They're going to try to do an all-night long kirtan for the devotees in Ukraine. A very nice thing there, Govardhan. Ujjwala Rasiga have comments. She's got to go. Pranams to everybody. Thank you very much, Ujjwala. And thank you very much, Natalia. Hare Krishna. Gorni Taiprabhu, do you have any further comments that you want to share with us?
I'm afraid that if you allow me to share all my thoughts, that you know, next time still I'm speaking. So many things coming up. First of all, this cause, you know, I'm just yesterday we've got 2 new calves. One after other, they took birth.
New calf.
Yeah, 2 calves.
2. Ah.
One after another. One is morning, one is evening.
They were ladies or bulls?
They become ladies.
It was International Women's Day.
Yeah. And also, sorry to put it together, but got my heart that first time I met the 2 Matajis from Ukraine. They arrived. And immediately received them very nicely. And first time I met with them were with lunch prasadam. Honestly, after I came from a cough, which first one was getting milk from her mother, and I saw them, they behaved exactly like the same.
Oh,
They went through this shock, which the cough goes through, and somehow he started to understand that she's in a protected environment, and she slowly found how to get nourishment. When they are the same, they don't know anything. Just where to go, how to go, what to do, same shock we went through.
it's a little hard to hear. Krishna Kund, you understand what he's saying? Okay, that's so beautiful. Thank you. Keep going, please.
So that's what you told. That we don't know how to help, as we don't know how to help those little calf. At least we do the best, give food, and wait until they develop some security feeling. They can hear, but still they are so much in shock. How difficult we went through. Yes, they are devotees, so they are much more easy to deal with all these difficulties than other persons. They are not devotees. They don't know anything. Why this happening? It will not end. So it's very hard to. But we are in Krishna's hands, so we can understand that everything that Krishna gives have some good reason, have some very, very good reason. And immediately learn that we develop this feeling, this satisfaction which Krishna has. When we understand, yes, we learned something from the situation.
What a beautiful analogy you shared, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. I can just picture that, the two baby calves coming out, and it's so traumatic for them being born, and then just coming out in the world, and the only shelter they have is Krishna, and it's so simple. In the same way, these devotees coming from Ukraine, these Matajis, they have nothing. And it made me think when you're saying that so many of the people, you were also commenting that people are trying to understand why. And I see even some devotees are trying to understand why. Why is this going on? And they're looking for reasons. And they're looking at Mr. Putin. He's the reason. He's this and that, and they'll say bad things about him. And then other people say, no, he's not the reason. It's the president of Ukraine, or the Ukrainian, and there's some Nazis there, this or that. And even devotees sometimes, they become confused like this, and they're looking for some external thing. And externally, who can say which is right and which is wrong? Only Krishna knows. But devotees are so simple, like those baby calves coming out, or like these Matajis coming from Ukraine. It's a big shock, but we just take shelter of Krishna. And that's all. And I'm not going to take shelter of trying to understand it's the fault of the Russian government, or the Ukrainian government, or the American government, or the CIA, or the KGB, or the GBC, or the this or that. I'm just going to take shelter of Krishna. That's all I'm here for. What a beautiful analogy. Thank you for sharing it with us. What a great group. I'm looking around. You got to meet Radha Jivan Gopal Prabhu sometime. The two of you are both cow people taking care. Radha Jivan Gopal Prabhu, you really should go to visit someday New Adhama in Hungary. It's a really wonderful project. And yeah, you have a friend there who takes care of the cows also. So if you come and visit, spend some time there, you can just go spend time with the cows and brush the cows and help feed them. And you'll make some friends with the cows. You've already got one friend with their servants there. All right. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Let's see, who else is there? Krishna Kund, do you want to share anything?
Yeah, I can.
You speak real loud. You can come around front. Devotees want to see you. Maybe not.
Yeah. For me, the biggest, I think it's okay.
Yeah.
For me, the biggest thing was probably that it's not I really like this point, that surrender is not about getting religious points from Krishna. It's about developing a relationship with him. It was such a simple point that you made, but it just really hit my heart. And I also like these last three words. Aishna, what is it? Nivedanakko Anukshana?
Mm-hmm.
And how it's only when we constantly reveal our heart and constantly pray and constantly chant. I also got very I just felt it was very appropriate that you made this comment just now to Goni Taipabu, that really speaking, if we try to understand who is the external cause of this situation, that means we are not being simple and we are not being able to just accept Krishna's arrangement. And I find some beautiful quote from Srila Prabhupada about this, how a devotee accepts even the reversals as Krishna's mercy. Prabhupada is so clear actually. It's just that it's not an easy thing to apply. Yeah. But I really appreciate that you devoted this whole katha to the Kapatya Conundrum. I think it was very helpful, at least for myself.
Thank you very much, Krishna Queen. Hare Krishna. Yeah, that's our conundrum. We have to figure something out. And we should take shelter of Krishna Nam, and this is what's appropriate for devotees. And it doesn't mean that someone has to like Mr. Putin, or that someone has to hate Mr. Putin, or this or that. That's going to be a natural thing. Certain devotees who grow up in certain countries, they like, Goni Taipabu likes pasta and goulash maybe or something, I don't know. And Natalia, she likes Gretchka perhaps, and Jaigor likes veggie burgers and fries. Everybody has different tastes and things. It's just a natural thing. And to try to say that, well, veggie burgers are the best and everybody should like veggie burgers, it's just ridiculous. There's just differences. And as I was commenting recently to someone, that try to imagine if the Krishna conscious movement was spread all over the world like it is today, but it was 1944 during the World War II. And Krishna consciousness spread all over. I would wager, I would promise you that there would be some devotees who would be supporting Hitler. There would be some devotees who would be supporting Mussolini. There would be some devotees who would be supporting Stalin. And it's just a guaranteed thing. And is that bad? Some devotees will say, no, we have to come forward and tell them, don't, that Hitler, that guy is really, really bad. Mussolini's really bad. And maybe from some perspective you're correct. But why do I want to waste my breath with that? Let me speak about Nam Bhajan, let me speak about Krishna Katha, and whatever is required, that devotee will understand in their heart. And maybe they'll never understand it, and if they don't, who cares? And actually, it's a credit to us. One discussion I was having recently, somebody was saying, but we can't get along, and devotees think so many different things. I said, that's good. It's good that we think so many different things. That's healthy. If we all think the same way, that's not healthy. It's a good thing if we have some people who appreciate this. It's a good thing we have some people in Mr. Putin's camp. It's a good thing we have some people in Mr. Biden's camp and in Mr. Trump's camp and this one group and that group. That means Krishna consciousness is going all over and it's relevant for everyone. But it doesn't mean that I should go and argue with them and try to convince them that their leader that they like is good or bad. That's ridiculous. Let's come together on the platform of Krishna consciousness. So, Jaigor, do you want to share anything with us? Lila Purushottam, did you share anything? I don't think you did. Would you like to share something, Prabhuji?
Yeah.
I'm a little bewildered tonight. Please forgive me.
Yeah, I have some questions or thoughts. I like the thought expressed by Kushbu Mataji and this kind of helps me to view the essence of Kapatya. It might be viewed as a, like, to the degree we are oriented to the externals, being like Bahirmukh Janas, that creates the Kapatya, that creates that space where we are not, where she mentioned it in the words like we can't really follow if you want just to follow the externals, if you don't look for the essence, if you don't look for the what's the instruction of, well, as you mentioned on the example of the guru having purpose, and with that example having him only as a rock star compared to really see what is his teachings, what that, and that being the important for us. So that was helpful to see that this being externally oriented is in itself Kapatya, it's in itself duplicity, actually. This allow us to really follow properly and to get rid of it, actually. So that was nice. And then I was thinking about, because you mentioned it even last time in the answer to me, this, it sounds this contemplation as a remedy for the Kapatya in our heart, for the duplicity. Quite interesting to see that not be so much used to phenomena of confession in our tradition, so strong for the Christians, for example. For them it's almost the essence of their progress in that sense. But it sounds like something I don't know how to what word to use, like something to grasp, so something to hold on. Like that confession could be a very helpful tool for the sadhaka to deal with his own duplicity when he becomes aware of it. And I wanted to ask, actually, because like when we heard the bhajan of Narottam Das Thakur, then as you mentioned, as you introduced it, there's one level of understanding are his own feelings, and another layer of understanding is Loka Shiksha, that he's mercifully giving us those prayers to help us. But now, then my question is, like, I will say the example and then you will understand what's the point of the question. Remember hearing once Mahanidhi Maharaj speaking about his experience when he was asking his Vaishya Guru, actually, it was after he took Babaji Vaishya. He was asking him about that prayer, Tavaivasmi, Tavaivasmi, Najivami Tvaya Vina, Sumanjali. And he was asking him, can I pray this prayer? And Guru answered him, no, it would be hypocrisy from you, because that verse is not true for you. You obviously can live without Radharani. It's obvious because you are alive. So that verse wouldn't be like 100% truthful for you to recite that prayer. And then my question is like, how do we understand this topic? Like, because we have so many prayers given to us by our predecessor acharyas to frame our mind, our feelings, our thoughts, our emotions. Yet they doesn't really have to be ours. It doesn't have to be our prayer, really. It might be it might create a space between the reality of my heart and the content of the prayer.
Thank you, Prabhu. There's three things I wanted to comment on. First of all, and let me just answer your question first about the Vaivasmi. If we wait for our qualification for something, then we're finished. We have no qualification whatsoever. And I'm not meaning to disagree with the sadhu's comments to Maharaj. I can appreciate them, and I'm not disagreeing with them. But I would suggest there's another way to look at it. And that is that if we see that we're doing bhajan for the pleasure of Gurudev, just like you may meet Paul McCartney, and you tell him, you wrote that song when you were with the Beatles, and I love that song, and I sing that song all the time. You may not understand that song. Maybe he wrote it about his first girlfriend or something like that. You don't really understand the depth of his song. But if he sings that song, if you sing that song for the pleasure of Paul McCartney, it touches his heart. Oh, he likes my song. And it reminds him of his own inner feelings. So that's my hope. Otherwise, all this literature has no meaning. I'm reading these things not because, yes, I'm like Raghunath Das Goswami and Radharani, I can't live without you, I'm going to die, and this and this. But if I recite these prayers, then Raghunath Das Goswami will be pleased with me. And actually, that's better than Radharani being pleased with me. It's a better thing if I can please Gurudev. That's my humble understanding of that, Prabhuji.
So wonderful answer.
And Krishna Khan has some comment real quick.
Actually, this same topic came up in a Sangha recently, which I attended. And one of the answers that we got was that it was Srimati Mataji, and she said that if you chant these prayers of the acharyas, even if you are not there, then maybe in this case Srimati Radharani will be so pleased, hey, that's Raghunath Das Goswami's prayer. So maybe she doesn't know you yet. Maybe she doesn't know me, for sure she doesn't know me, but she knows Raghunath Das Goswami, and so she will be pleased that we are trying to turn to her with those prayers.
I just want to look back at a couple other comments she made too about confessions. Thank you for mentioning it. It made me really think, and how you were pointing out that, see where I grew up, I was kind of, Baptist or Protestant Christian in America, and there's no confessions like that. But where you grow up, and I know this, walking through the fields around Lila Purushottam was place, one thing that really struck me, remember when we were together, is practically every field they have a crucifix. They have some place where the farm workers would go, and some of them are very, very old, like hundreds of years old, and the farm workers would go every day to recite some prayers and whatever like that. It's a very religious place in that way. And confessions is a big part of that. And I was thinking about that Christian system of confession, what little I know of it, from the Catholic perspective, and that is that the priest doesn't know who it is. You go to the confession box, and that enables you to freely open your heart and speak something. It's considered very, very important for all the same reasons that we were speaking. Krishna likes confessions. We should get this off our heart. We should be honest. And there's someone there to hear. That's the Catholic version of this. But our Vaishnava system of this is Guya Mukyati Prichati, that we should reveal our mind, but we should only do that with someone that we have intimate faith in. My Guru Maharaj spoke like that. It's kind of similar in that sense to the confession box that we find in Catholicism. But there's an important difference. In the confession box, the person doesn't know you. And they may be a very wise priest, they may have some very good advice to say something to you, or they may not. But when you approach someone that you have faith in, then it's a much greater chance that that person's going to be able to extend some deep thing for you. The third comment too that I was appreciating about our qualification, it reminded me of something. It's a story that I tell sometimes, and I won't go into details, but there's one Mataji that I knew in America. She became an initiated devotee. And you were appreciating how we should respect and appreciate what we've gotten from sadhu, and not just the rock star aspect of it. So this one Mataji, she became an initiated devotee, 16 rounds and all that. And the person who preached to her and got her to join was a pimp. I'm not really sure what kind of work that girl was doing and how she knew him. I never wanted to ask her that question. I have some suspicions, but that's not an appropriate question. But he's her Vartman Pradarshika guru. He got her to become a devotee. How can she hate him? I mean, he's not chanting, he's a debauchee, but he gave her good advice. So we accept, as you were saying, the essence of things. When we find some good advice, we find some gold, even if it's in a urinal, in a public urinal, we just close our eyes and reach our hand in and we grab the gold. It's still a valuable thing, and we go and we wash it off. We'll still accept that thing. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much.
Jaigor, do you have anything you want to finish with?
One last thing was that I really like that connection with the Sharanagati being directly connected to desire for develop relationship with the Lord, not approaching it as a religious whatever function or but this personal aspect being a drive force for the Sharanagati that I guess if the devotees would live with that understanding, it would help a lot to us with the inspiration for Sharanagati and with making steps in the Sharanagati, because then it's something really inspiring when you really aspire for a relationship and have it like deeply rooted, that conception that my steps are to aspire to express my aspiration for the relationship.
It's like Krishna Kaur made a nice comment. I appreciate it. She says it, religious points. I like that. So I got 10 points today. I went to Mangal Artik, I did this and this, and I've got all these points, and that's why I'm doing it. You know, we should do it. We should go to Mangal Artik. We should do all those things, but we should do it because we want a personal relationship first with Guru. Tate Krishna Bhaji Kori Guru Sevan. Because my Krishna Bhajan is my Guru Seva. My Guru Seva is my Krishna Bhajan. First, that Mangal Artik and those 16 rounds and things will help me in my relationship with Guru, and that'll help me in my relationship with Krishna.
And that gives life to those activities, which could be very easily mechanical or just really collecting religious points. But if there is this aspiration for relationship, or motivation to develop that relationship, then it's like real dynamic living thing. These processes, these activities.
Yeah, what is it Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings in his first song in Saranagati, which my grandmas used to sing so often. Let me see if I can find it. But he sings about how the Saranagati is my pran.
Yeah.
It's
Pran.
It's what?
It's Bakatera.
Bhakatera pran, right. It's the life of my bhakti. So it's a deep point. And how do we just understand that? We may say, well, what's the necessity of the Saranagati? I just want to love Krishna. I just want to hear about Krishna. I want to chant 64 rounds. What is the necessity of the Saranagati? We're trying to develop a personal relationship. And without that Saranagati, how are we going to give up our Kapatya? Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Jai Gaur, you have any reflections you want to share with us? What did you win today? Did you get any prizes? Yeah, a little soft.
I was also thinking, I don't think Radha Jivan said anything either. Maybe you can go after me.
Okay, Radha Jivan Gopal Prabhu. Yeah, I'm really spaced out today. We had some kind of little discussions here and there, and it was jumped over. He's got his Gobar wall behind him.
Yeah.
Ujjwala Reski's got her brick wall. She's real firm. Kushbu's got his pictures, and Radha Jivan Gopal Prabhu's got his Gobar wall. So, what are your reflections today, Radha Jivan Prabhu? It's such a good name, you know.
I'm very lucky. I was thinking that this point you made, that sentimental followers don't look at the teachings of Guru, but the external rock star qualities. I was thinking that this is like a quality of a Kanishta Adhikari, and then it was also mentioned that Krishna and Guru likes confessions, and it's very important to be transparent and honest, and these are qualities of a Madhyama Adhikari, and trying to act on this platform of, you know, Madhyam devotee is actually what's going to please Guru. And you mentioned that to understand the heart of Guru, and that's how we really become close. I appreciate that point. Something I was just thinking about.
Thank you. Yeah, it's like sometimes I've seen over the years in our society that there's been some devotees, some leading preachers and things who've had troubles after some time. Krishna Kun and I both know some persons like this. And as the years went by in their teaching, they told the devotees, look, if something happens to me, you stay with Srila Prabhupada. If something happens to me, you stay with the teachings. And I appreciate that so much. And that should be the standard of our society. But when we just get caught up in this whole rock star thing, you know, I like Jai Gore because the guy plays guitar like, man, he can play Deep Purple, you know, the guy's really, really good, and he's great kirtaniya, and he's so handsome, and this and that, whatever. Then what is the value of that? Our society then becomes so very shallow. We should just hang out with the cows and be simple. Does that make sense, Radha Jivan? You approve of that? Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. So we've got two here. We got Jai Gaur and Bana. Which one do you want to speak first? Usually Bana has the last word, but would you like to say anything, Bana? Share anything first, or you want to wait till after Jai Gaur? You can correct Jai Gaur if he goes first.
We were beginning to read Prema Bhakti Chandrika last night.
Uh-huh.
It was really cool just coming on this same point that Srila Vishwanath we were reading his commentary on it, and he's saying that that these four goals of human life, Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha, are really just for the devotees. Those things are just cheating. And it's all basically, centered around what you were talking about today. And although we've heard that, it was just really cool to hear it framed that way. And I was also thinking that you were saying that you wanted to go over Prema Bhakti Chandrika next, and I feel really excited for that. I think that's going to be really cool. And when we were going through that bhajan you were singing earlier, I was kind of drawing I've been trying to sing Gopinath more, and I was kind of drawing parallels between that bhajan and Gopinath. And he's saying, like, Bhaktivinoda Thakur say, you have the power to deliver all sinners, and there's no one more sinful than I am. But I was also kind of, to me, it seemed like in this bhajan and also Gauranga Karuna Kora, there's some kind of like transcendental entitlement almost, like because you're Gauranga Mahaprabhu, it's your prerogative. Like you have to give me some mercy because you're Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is what you're doing here. So I was wondering if you had any comments on that.
Yeah, that kind of entitlement is not a negative entitlement. That's a healthy entitlement. We should definitely feel I'm entitled for this. If you're Petit Pavan, then that's me. Amito Adhama Tumi. How was it? Amito Adhama Tumi Adhama Tarana. Ubaye Sambandha E Patita Pavan. Haridas Thakur tells us to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Harinam Chintamani. He says, Amita Adhama. That's who I'm Adhama. But you're Adhama Tarana. You're the deliverer, the fallen. So that's our connection. So it's very, very good. So it's not entitlement in the negative sense that we speak often about, where we're trying to get something for ourselves in a mundane way, but we're trying to get mercy. This entitlement's healthy. We want this kind of mercy. I was also thinking, by the way, about the song Gopinath in connection with these prayers today. They're very, very much similar. Same kind of thing. Nivedana is this cry. Okay. Thank you, Pooji. Bana Biharni, do you have any wise comments you want to summarize everything? Correct what Jaigor said? Or?
I don't know about wise, but I have something to share. I was just really appreciating that even for a very fallen person, a duplicitous person, there's this opportunity for connection and relationship through the Guru with Krishna by approaching in this way and begging and maybe some confession like this, because I was thinking about how maybe one of the darkest times of my life was when I was feeling like I couldn't approach my Guru or Krishna because I was feeling so shameful. But this is really just some ignorance that actually I know I have that opportunity if I go and I make some confession that I won't be rejected. So it's really powerful. I heard you say before that we also shouldn't make some shallow confession, that it should be followed by something. And I think recently you shared that, you're duplicitous if you maybe you make some confession, but then, you're not following the instructions of Guru, or you're not chanting like that. So I was just thinking about that. And I don't know if you have anything to say about that. And also, I think I didn't, please forgive me, I didn't hear so clearly at the end when you were saying, I'm constantly revealing my heart to you. And I think it was in connection with chanting. I think I didn't catch that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So yeah, we're duplicitous if we're not strictly following the instructions of Guru. But what does that mean? Someone, maybe some of Prabhupada's godbrothers, might have criticized him. Said, look, your Guru told you to go to the West and preach, and you didn't do anything. You just kept doing your business, and you stayed in India for so long. But Srila Prabhupada never forgot that instruction. So it's not a good example to compare Srila Prabhupada to us, of course. But still, I think that gives us some hope. We should always firmly keep in mind the instruction of Gurudev and never compromise that. And even no matter how fallen we become, we should also be determined that I'm not going to give up. And because all of these things in this material world, they're not significant. Even the greatest fall downs of this, even someone murders someone, this, that, it's nothing compared to bhakti. Now, of course, we can speak about that in a social sense, and some devotees will be very upset. Well, you can't, this person did something to a small child. We can't ever allow that person to come. That may be there in a social context, but that social context is not necessarily divine consideration. That's a social consideration. But from my heart, if I see that someone is crying, and what does it mean, confession, as you were asking at the end too, that we're constantly confessing, it doesn't mean that you send a list to your Guru Maharaj and tell him, well, I did this thing, at 5 o'clock, and then at 6 o'clock I ate this thing, and then I watched this thing, and I did this thing. It doesn't mean, I hope wouldn't be a long list, but it doesn't mean that we send him a long, detailed list. And also, I made some videos too, Gurudev, of Hare Krishna. We don't approach like that, but we approach through our bhajan. And we're speaking to Gurudev in that way. It's not that Gurudev wants to hear about every single little mistake that we've made and problem that we have and things like that. But at the same time, we should speak about all those things. But how do we reconcile those two seemingly contradictory points? We speak about them in our chanting, in our nam-bhajan. That I'm just a very, very fallen person, and I express all that to him. Does that kind of reconcile things, Bana?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. It's good to see you guys. I'm seeing you. I'm feeling very guilty because I owe you some comments about the website. I'm not forgetting it.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
I don't know why, Jaguar, but when I see Bana, I get nervous. She's.
The feeling is mutual.
And Goni type for
Chauvinistic comments, yeah.
what's that, Krishna Kun?
Chauvinistic comments.
Krishna Kun says it's a chauvinistic comment. Okay. Goni Taiprabhu has posted a really beautiful comment from Guru Maharaj about why there's no advancement. I'd encourage you. Actually, you can copy that if you want. I'm also going to paste it into our WhatsApp group here. And then Goni Tai also has another comment about surrendering and making personal relationship with Krishna. He comments, it's Krishna's nature to be Purush. So don't be envious, just surrender to him according to your nature as being Prakriti, and he'll act according to his nature. He'll protect you, will nourish you and satisfy you in the best way as possible. That's beautiful. Bhakti is such a natural thing. Relationships are such a natural thing. But when we try to make things religious, then it's like, going and talking to Natalia and telling her, I like you because I like your shoes. It's weird. It's not a natural thing. Okay, so we'll go ahead and stop there. If anybody's interested, if you're in America tonight, we're going to have we'll live stream on Facebook. We have our session on meeting in Kurukshetra, and we're speaking something more about Krishna's message to the gopis, and we're titling this Problems, Real and Apparent. What is a real problem? What is an apparent problem? And that'll be some of the subject tonight for your evening, on my tomorrow morning. Okay, so thank you all so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveda Bhakta Binda ki jai, Go Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Vancha Kalpa Viduscha, Kripa Sindhu Vicha, Patitanam Pavan.